My fiancée accidentally sent me a text meant for her bestie. Just in a few days, I will get him to put my name on the house. I screenshot it, called my lawyer, and had her removed from everything. She came home to change locks and eviction papers. I am 32 male, never thought I'd be writing one of these. Always figured the people who ended up here were either dramatic or unlucky. Turns out, I'm the latter. 3 days ago, I was sitting in my home office reviewing some contracts when my phone buzzed. Text from Kimberly, my fiancé of 2 years. We were supposed to get married in 4 months. Girl, he's so clueless, Almeo. Just in a few days, I will get him to put my name on the house. Then after the wedding, I'll have access to everything. The prenup talk hasn't even come up because he trusts me completely. This is almost too easy. I stared at it for maybe 30 seconds. Then another text. Sorry babe, wrong person, just joking around with Ashley about some reality show we're watching. Here's the thing about Kimberly. I always thought she was terrible at lying under pressure. Turns out she was just arrogant. She got so comfortable in the con, so sure that I was a complete mark, that she got sloppy. That wasn't a mistake born of panic. It was born of supreme, misplaced confidence. I screenshot both texts immediately. Then I did what any rational person would do. I called my lawyer. Hey Paul, hypothetical question. If someone's living in my house but isn't on the deed or lease, how fast can I legally remove them? Paul laughed. That's not very hypothetical, is it? What happened? I forwarded him the screenshots while we were still on the phone. The silence that followed was telling. Okay, he said finally. Here's what we're gonna do. Kimberly had moved in with me 18 months ago. My house, inherited from my grandmother, fully paid off, was mine and mine alone. She'd been pushing lately about feeling more secure and wanting her name on the deed since we're getting married anyway. I'd been considering it. Love makes you stupid like that. But she'd made a crucial mistake. She's not a tenant, Paul explained. She's a licensee at will. She pays no rent, has no lease. In our state, that means you can revoke her license to be there with reasonable notice. We're going to make it very reasonable and very, very fast. Paul had me come to his office immediately. Within a couple of hours, we had a plan. The next day was D-Day. I went home that night and acted normal. Kimberly was on the couch, watching TV, like she hadn't just accidentally revealed she was planning to ruin my life. She smiled when I walked in. Hey babe, how was your day? Pretty good, I said, grabbing a beer. Productive. She patted the couch next to her. I sat down, trying not to think about how many times we'd sat exactly like this. How many lies had there been? So I was thinking, she started, playing with my hand. Since the wedding's coming up, maybe we should look into adding my name to the house? Just for security, you know? What if something happens to you? There it was, the setup. Yeah, maybe, I said. Let me think about it. She beamed and kissed my cheek. You're the best. Oh, and Ashley wants to go dress shopping this weekend? That okay? Of course. I slept in the guest room that night, claiming I was coming down with something and didn't want to get her sick. She bought it. Why wouldn't she? I was the clueless mark, after all. The next morning, I left for work early. In reality, I met Paul at his office to sign the final papers. The day was a blur of coordination. At 10 a.m., I went to the bank and, as a joint owner, exercised my right to withdraw all the funds from our shared accounts, moving the money to a new one in my name only. At noon sharp, the locksmith arrived to change every lock on the property. At 12:30 p.m., the formal notice to quit was taped securely to the front door. At 1 p.m., the movers Paul had arranged arrived and began packing all of Kimberly's belongings. It took them 3 hours. By 4 p.m., everything she owned was in a storage unit, paid for 1 month, more than legally required, but I wasn't a complete monster. Then I waited. She texted at 5:47 p.m., Hey babe, door won't open? Think the lock's broken? Me, check the notice on the door. Silence for 3 minutes. Then my phone exploded. 17 missed calls in 5 minutes. I let them all go to voicemail. Finally, she texted, What the hell is this? A notice to quit? Are you insane? Me, your belongings are at Secure Store on Maple. Unit 47, first month is paid, your car keys are in the lockbox by the garage, code is 4567. Andrew, please. Whatever you think happened, we can talk about this. You can't just throw me out. I live here. No, you stayed here? Big difference. Paul says you have 24 hours to collect your personal effects before access is rescinded. She tried calling again. I declined and texted, "Only contact me through my lawyer. His number is on the notice." Then I blocked her. The security footage from the next hour was something. My new doorbell camera has surprisingly clear audio. She went from crying to screaming to trying to break in through the back door. The alarm system stopped that real quick, to sitting on the front steps calling everyone she knew. The best part? She called Ashley, on speaker, screaming into her phone just a few feet from the camera. "He knows," Kimberly sobbed. "I don't know how, but he knows. He changed the locks. Everything's in storage. What do I do?" Ashley's response was gold. "I told you not to text about it." "God, Kimberly, how could you get so arrogant?" "It was an accident. I thought I was texting you." "Well, congratulations, you played yourself." "Is your name on anything?" "No, I was supposed to handle that this week." "Then you're screwed. Better call Donald." Donald, that was new. I found out later that Donald was her ex who she'd been consulting about her little scheme. Apparently, she'd done something similar to him years ago, but on a smaller scale. He'd been advising her on how to do it better this time. Nice. Update 1. It's been a week since eviction day, and hoo boy did things escalate. First, she tried the emotional manipulation route. Showed up at my office with tears and a sob story about having nowhere to go. Security escorted her out. She made enough of a scene that my boss asked what was going on. I showed him the texts. He whistled low and said, "Damn, need a few days off to handle this?" Good boss. Then came the social media campaign. She posted everywhere about how I'd suddenly gone crazy and thrown her out for no reason. After 2 beautiful years together, her friends rallied behind her, calling me every name in the book. So I did something petty. I posted the screenshots. The comment section was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Half her friends immediately went silent. The other half tried to claim I'd taken it out of context or that she was obviously joking. Right? Because everyone jokes about conning their fiancé out of their house. Ashley tried damage control, posting about how I was financially abusive and had been controlling Kimberly's every move. Funny, because I'd never even met Ashley. She was always conveniently busy whenever I suggested we all hang out. But the real circus started when Kimberly's mom called me. "Andrew, what's this? I hear about you making my baby girl homeless." I liked Dorothy. She'd always been kind to me, so I sent her the screenshots too. Long silence. Then, "That doesn't sound like my Kimberly." "I thought the same thing, Dorothy." "She's staying with Ashley right now. Says you changed the locks while she was at work?" "I changed them at noon. She doesn't have a job, Dorothy. Hasn't for 8 months." "What?" "She said she was working at that marketing firm downtown." Oh, this kept getting better. She told me she quit to focus on wedding planning. It gave her the perfect excuse to be on her laptop all day. I thought she was on Pinterest and talking to caterers. Another long pause. "Andrew, she told me you were the one who wanted her to quit, that you were old-fashioned about working wives." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "Dorothy, I've been asking her to look for work for months. I even offered to help with her resume." I need to go." "I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm so sorry." She hung up, and I felt bad for her. Finding out your kid isn't who you thought they were? That's rough. But Kimberly wasn't done. Oh no. See, while she couldn't get into the house, she still had access to some of our wedding vendor accounts. I found out when I got an email from our venue. "Hi, Mr. Peterson. We're confirming your request to change the date to next weekend and add the champagne fountain package. Your new balance is $47,000. Thanks. $47,000. She'd moved the wedding up, added every possible upgrade, and invited 200 additional guests. The catering alone was now costing more than a car. I called the venue immediately. "Yeah, we can't cancel or modify without both parties' consent," the coordinator said. "It's in your contract." "She's no longer my fiancée. We're not getting married." "I understand, but legally..." "What if my lawyer sends you a formal cease and desist, along with a notice of our intent to file a report for wire fraud if you process any further changes on her authority?" Pause. "What kind of evidence do you have?" Paul sent them a package within the hour, a copy of the notice to quit, the screenshots, and a strongly worded letter. 20 minutes later, I got a call from their legal department. Turns out threatening to embroil a business in a criminal fraud case is something they take seriously. They canceled everything, refunded my deposit, and banned her from the property. But here's where it got really interesting. My phone rang at 11 p.m., unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Don't hang up. Kimberly's voice, but different. Calm. Cold, even. Her last-ditch effort. I'm hanging up. I'll make this worth your while. That stopped me. You have 10 seconds. I know about your Bitcoin wallet. My blood went cold. I'd mentioned it once, maybe twice in passing. Had a decent amount in there from buying in early. Not retirement money, but enough to hurt if it disappeared. So? Donald's good with computers. Really good. Are you threatening me? I'm negotiating. Give me $50,000 and I disappear. You'll never hear from me again. No drama, no lawyers, no mess. Or things get complicated. I was recording the call, of course. Paul had advised me to record everything. Kimberly, are you seriously trying to blackmail me right now? She laughed. Actually laughed. Blackmail? No, I'm offering a clean break. Think about it. Lawyer fees, court costs, time off work, $50K and you're free. Counteroffer. Go to hell. Your funeral, she said, and hung up. I immediately called Paul, then my bank, then the exchange where I kept my crypto. Everything got locked down tight. Two-factor authentication on everything, new passwords, the works. The next morning, I woke up to 47 login attempt notifications. She'd really tried it. The absolute balls on this woman. But she'd messed up again. See, attempting to hack someone's financial accounts? That's a federal crime, and I had her recorded threatening to do it as an act of extortion. Paul was practically giddy when I played him the recording. Andrew, my friend, she just handed us a gift-wrapped felony charge. We filed a police report that afternoon. The cybercrime division was very interested in our evidence. Turns out Donald wasn't as good with computers as Kimberly thought. He'd left digital fingerprints everywhere. Update 2. It's been a month now, and I thought I'd seen everything. I was wrong. The police arrested Donald 2 weeks ago. He folded like a cheap suit, immediately throwing Kimberly under the bus. Showed them text messages, emails, the works. She'd been planning this for over a year. I wasn't her first mark, just hopefully her biggest score. But that's not the craziest part. Remember when I said she was pretending to wedding plan? Well, the business she was really running was a side hustle I knew nothing about. Can you guess what kind? Romance scams. She was coaching other women on how to land wealthy men and separate them from their assets. She had a whole website, testimonials, even a course you could buy for $499 called Securing Your Future, a woman's guide to financial freedom through strategic relationships. I'm not making this up. One of her success stories reached out to me after seeing the social media drama. Emily, 29, had taken Kimberly's course and successfully convinced her boyfriend to buy her a car before he caught on. She felt so guilty she tracked me down. She was so convincing, Emily told me over coffee. Made it sound like female empowerment, you know? Taking control of our financial futures. She said men had been doing it to women for centuries, so why not even the playing field? How'd that work out for you? Emily laughed bitterly. Lost the car, the boyfriend, and most of my friends when they found out. Kimberly stopped returning my calls after that. Guess I wasn't a success story anymore. Emily wasn't the only one. With her help, we found a cached version of Kimberly's website and reached out to others. I heard from 12 different women, all with similar stories. Kimberly had been running this con game for at least 3 years. But wait, it gets better. My lawyer Paul called me yesterday with news that made me actually laugh out loud. You're not gonna believe this, he said. Kimberly's pregnant. I stopped laughing. What? No, we always used protection. Always. Not yours, apparently. Donald's. She's about 11 weeks along. The timeline was interesting. 11 weeks ago was right around when she started pushing hard about getting her name on the house. Suddenly, the urgency made sense. She was already pregnant with another man's child and needed to secure my assets before the truth came out. How'd you find out? I asked. She's trying to use it as leverage in the criminal case, claiming she can't go to jail because she's carrying a child. Her lawyer submitted medical documents to the court. Is Donald standing by her? Paul snorted. Donald's in federal custody, looking at 5 to 10 years for the cybercrimes. He's not standing by anyone. The prosecutor called me the next day. They were offering Kimberly a plea deal. The extortion charge was serious, but they wanted Donald more. They offered to reduce her charges if she cooperated and accepted a deal. 2 years probation, and she had to shut down her business immediately. If she violated probation, she'd serve 3 years. Why so lenient? I asked. First offense on record, she's pregnant, and honestly, Donald's the bigger fish. Her testimony helps nail him. I wasn't happy, but Paul explained we had another option. As part of the plea, to avoid a separate and costly civil trial for the extortion attempt, her lawyer agreed to a settlement. She would pay me $50,000 for damages covering my legal fees and severe emotional distress. Plus, she had to return the engagement ring. Kimberly took the deal, had to stand up in court and admit to everything. The judge made her read out loud from her own website about strategic relationship planning. You could see her die inside with every word. The absolute peak moment, when she had to list her assets for the settlement. Turns out, she had about $73,000 saved from her coaching business, plus another $15,000 from selling gifts I'd given her. The judge ordered the settlement paid from those funds, returned the ring, and fined her another $20,000. She looked at me across the courtroom when the judgment was read. For the first time since this all started, she looked defeated. Not angry, not scheming, just empty. Her mom, Dorothy, was there too. She'd aged 10 years in a month, caught my eye and mouthed "I'm sorry" before leading Kimberly out. Update 3. It's been 3 months since everything went down. Figured I'd give you all one last update since you've been following this circus. Kimberly's living with her mom now. The pregnancy is progressing, and from what I hear, she's actually working a real job, retail at a department store. Her coaching website is gone, court-ordered. She paid the settlement in full, which wiped out everything she had. Donald got 7 years. Turns out this wasn't his first federal offense, which didn't help his case. Kimberly's baby will be in elementary school before Dad gets out. Ashley disappeared completely. Deleted all her social media, changed her number. Emily told me she heard Ashley moved to another state to start fresh. Good riddance. As for me, I'm doing okay. Not great, not terrible, just okay. I sold the ring and donated the money to a women's shelter. Felt like the right thing to do. The house feels empty sometimes, but I'm slowly making it mine again. Replaced all the furniture she'd picked out, repainted the walls, even got a dog. Named him Paul after my lawyer, who thinks it's hilarious. Dating? Not yet. Trust issues are real, and therapy's helping, but it's a process. My therapist says I need to learn to trust my judgment again before I trust another person. Makes sense, even if it's lonely sometimes. The weird part? I find myself wondering if any of it was real. Were there moments when she actually cared? Or was every kiss, every "I love you," every laugh just part of the con? I'll never know, and maybe that's for the best. Her mom still texts me sometimes, maybe once a month. They're not conversations. Just short, painful apologies. "I hope you're healing" was the last one. I never reply. What is there to say? It's not her fault. Her daughter turned out to be a professional con artist. The funniest part of this whole mess? That group of women who took Kimberly's course? We have a group chat. We call ourselves Kimberly's Survivors and meet for drinks once a month. It's actually been therapeutic, comparing notes and realizing how similar her tactics were with everyone. Emily and I have become pretty. She's dating again. She's a social worker who thinks the whole story is insane but loves her anyway. Another woman, Donna, started a legitimate financial planning business for women. She jokes that Kimberly taught her what not to do. Last week, one of them asked me, "Do you regret posting those screenshots? Making it all public?" I thought about it. No, because if I hadn't, she'd be doing this to someone else right now. Maybe your sister or daughter or friend. These people rely on silence and shame to keep operating. Everyone nodded. We all knew the cost of staying quiet. So that's where things stand. No dramatic reconciliation, no revenge beyond the legal system, no neat bow to wrap it all up. Just a bunch of people picking up pieces and moving forward. To anyone reading this who's been through something similar, you're not stupid for trusting someone. They're terrible for violating that trust. Document everything, get a good lawyer, and remember that the best revenge is just living a better life without them. And always, always, trust your gut when something feels off. Because it usually is. Oh, and one last thing. Double check who you're texting before hitting send. You never know when your own arrogance might save someone else's life. Peace out, Reddit. Thanks for following along on this weird journey. Now, if you'll excuse me, Paul, the dog, needs his walk.